This video is going to go through solving an equation, and we're going to use the guess and check method when we solve. So there's a couple methods we can use, and this one will be guess and check. Alright, so that's really sloppy, but so when you factor, always remember that first step of factoring. Is there anything that you can take out of all three terms just to get your numbers a little bit smaller, a little bit easier to factor? Anytime you have even numbers, you can always take out a 2, and I do think that 2 is the biggest number that will fit in. So that leaves us with a 4x squared plus 19x minus 5 equals 0. Also, when you are solving a quadratic equation and you're going to factor, you do want to make sure that you have everything set equal to 0 on this side. So if you had terms on both sides, get them all to one side. Make sure that your x squared term is positive, and that will just make your factoring much, much easier. So when your a value is something other than 1, you have to use another method of factoring. So this video is to show you how to guess and check. So I actually do not know what this answer is, so I'm totally guessing here. But what I do know is that my first terms have to multiply to give me this 4x squared. Well, you have a couple of options. You could try a 4x and an x, or a 2x and a 2x. So, I don't know, I'll just start with 4x and x, see how that goes. But I'm keeping in mind that there's more for me to try in case it doesn't work out. Alright, and then my other numbers here have to multiply to give me this negative 5. So, to multiply to a 5, I know I need a 5 and a 1. And I'm going to worry about those signs in a minute because it's a negative 5. I'll need one positive, one negative value. And so now I'm going to guess and check. So I know that I will have, through foiling, this will give me the 4x squared. This will give me that 5 I'm looking for. So how do we get that 19x? So if I check my outside and my inside terms, so 4x times 1 is a 4x. 5 times x is a 5x. And if one of those is negative, do I ever end up with that positive 19x? So this did not work. So I guessed once, didn't work out. Now I have to try again. So let me see what it will let me erase. So the first thing I would try is let's switch the 5 and the 1. I'll use a different color. Black should work. Let's make this the 1 and this the 5. And now we're just going to try this again. You check those outside and inside terms. So we have 4x times 5 is a 20x. 1 times x is an x. And remember, if one of these is negative, can I end up with that 19x in the middle? And I would say, oh, well, yeah, negative x would work because 20x minus x is 19x. So to get this to be a negative x, that must be a minus 1, which means that has to be a plus 5. So let's check this again. We have 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times 5 is 20x. We have a negative 1 times x, which is minus x. And then we have a negative 1 times 5, which is minus 5. And so this is 4x squared plus 19x minus 5, and then I look and I say, oh yeah, it worked out. I know for certain that this worked out. So let's write our final factored answer over here. Let's use new color. We have the 2 out front. Don't forget, whatever you factored out in the beginning does end up in your factored answer. And then 4x minus 1 and x plus 5 equals 0. Alright, so now that we have it factored and equal to 0, this is where you set up those mini equations. It's that zero product property that lets you set anywhere that you have an x. So I don't have an x out here with the 2, so I actually don't have to worry about that. I can show you in class why we end up just ignoring the 2. If there was an x with the 2, then I would have to have an equation for that. But otherwise, I've got an x in here, so we'll do 4x minus 1 equals 0. And I've got an x in here, so we say x plus 5 equals 0. And when we solve each of these for x, we would add 1 and then divide by 4. So in the end, x equals a 1/4. And then over here we would subtract 5, so x also equals a negative 5. So we factored, we solved, but we did use our guess and check method of factoring.